It gives me great pleasure to review one of the greatest cult movies I've ever seen in my life, The Boondock Saints. I shall follow this review up with a review of the sequel, which was released on DVD today, and I intend to watch it as soon as I can. But first, this movie. This is just one of those crazy Hollywood stories where a bartender writes a script, gets everything he wanted, only to throw it away, and then still be able to make the movie on a shoestring. And as if that wasn't crazy enough, it goes unnoticed in theaters, but then gets a giant rejuvenation during its DVD sales. More than $40 million worth of DVDs sold, after almost nothing in theaters. It's really a crazy story for a movie to have. But now onto the story. We've got Connor and Murphy, two Irish-American fraternal twins who are living in the streets of Boston with paltry jobs, and they continually watch as criminals get away with murder, and much worse. So, for the most part, they're always content to just live their own lives the way they are. But then one special St. Paddy's Day, hanging out with their good friend David Della Rocco at their favorite bar, a bunch of Russian mobsters come in and start to close the bar down. Of course, it's St. Paddy's Day, and all the Irish in the bar have had a drink, so they all gang up against the Russian mobsters, with Connor and Murph taking the lead. It's because of this that the Russians then target them later, and Connor and Murph have to defend themselves. They are hailed as vigilantes, though their identity is hidden by the police. So this experience leads to them deciding to become vigilantes, striking back against the criminals of Boston, and so begins the journey of the Boondock Saints. The idea here is that it's a lot like Charles Bronson in Death Wish, where the public likes what the vigilantes are doing, but the cops have to try and track them down. And who better to track them down than Paul Smecker, an FBI agent brought in to investigate the interesting crime scenes. The thing about Paul Smecker, played amazingly by Willem Dafoe, is that he can pick up on the tiniest, most insignificant detail and reconstruct the crime scene for us. And that's basically the shtick of this movie, where we watch the Boondock Saints marching into a scene ready to attack the gangsters, and then we get a cutaway to the crime scene after it's all been done. And then, with Paul Smecker's guidance, we get to see what happened, and we also get to watch how hilarious of an experience it is to see Paul Smecker figure it out. This kind of non-linear storytelling is a really interesting method that I've seen from such legendary filmmakers as Oliver Stone and Quentin Tarantino. Considering that this was his first ever film, Troy Duffy did a wonderful job. His direction was really well placed, such as the multiple action scenes we get in the movie, but also just the overall feel of the film. It remained consistent the whole time. But what's really great about Troy Duffy's contributions to this film is the script. The characters take the dialogue and throw it at each other like it's a verbal food fight. And the simple humor just adds to the fun that these actors must have had participating in this movie. It's no wonder that so many of them came back for the second movie. And speaking of the actors, Willem Dafoe has never been more over the top, and considering his filmography, that is saying a lot. The two brothers played by Sean Patrick Flannery and Norman Reedus were spot on. They were amazing in the roles, and they just captured our attention and our interest, and they just made the characters so memorable. The funny part of the casting is how Troy Duffy wrote the funny man character and named it after his friend David Della Rocco, with full intention of getting this guy to play the role. I don't know if the guy is like this in real life, but it sure as hell felt like it. And of course, we cannot forget the indomitable Billy Connolly, famous for his comedic roles, now playing the most chilling hitman in the whole movie, Il Duce. And a respectful shout-out must be called out to the supporting actors who played the three hapless cops who basically get to follow Willem Dafoe's performance along the way, and also the actor who plays the chief antagonist in the movie, Jacovetta, the Mafia Don. This is a wonderful example of what happens when you get a group of great actors and you give them the perfect script that fully captures their potential and their strengths and just lays it out bare in front of the camera. The film is a wonderful accomplishment for Troy Duffy and for everyone involved. And the humor, of course, will always get to me, even if I've watched it 1,000 times. For example, the wonderful scene where Rocco is telling one of his classic jokes, much to his concern that nobody is laughing. And of course, who can forget the wonderful bartender who's been given a very unique nickname due to his very unique choice of words. The fact that we can just sit back and watch these actors have fun and also invite us to participate in their enjoyment just makes this movie all the more memorable. Kudos to everybody involved in this film, and hopefully the sequel impresses me just as much. This is Jimmy Steller signing off, and thanks for watching. Stay tuned for part 2.